Lev Vygotsky was a Russian psychologist, founder of a theory of human cultural and biosocial development, commonly referred to as cultural historical psychology. He believed cognitive development occurs through gradual internalization of concepts and relationships. He also believed that children learn through interacting in their natural environment. Therefore, he is considered a nurturer. Lev was influenced by Piaget, Adler, and Marx, with his theory development taking place primarily in the 1920s and 30s. Unfortunately, he passed away at age 38 from tuberculosis. Nevertheless, the field of OT continues to be influenced by Vygotsky's work. One of Lev's hallmarked theories was overt versus covert speech. Overt speech is the process of thinking aloud versus covert speech, which is internalizing the thought process.
The following video is a child counting blocks out loud as an example of overt speech.
7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
A clinical example of strategies moving from an overt to a covert process is when a child is learning how to hit a baseball. Initially, the child may articulate aloud the steps required to successfully make contact with a baseball during practice. Keep my eye on the ball, swing through the ball, and take my time are examples of self-coaching, a domain-specific strategy that over time fades into an internalized or covert strategy.
A concept that OTs absolutely love is the just right challenge. In order to learn, we must be presented with tasks that are just out of reach of our present abilities. Tasks that are too simple do not promote learning, and we become very bored. Tasks that are too complex make us become very frustrated and do not promote learning as well. An activity that is a child's just right challenge has the 4 following elements. Number 1, the activity matches the child's developmental skills and interests. Number 2, provides a reasonable challenge to current performance level. Number 3, it engages and motivates the child. And number 4, it can be mastered with the child's focused effort. The just right challenge requires effort but is accomplishable and satisfying. Because there is an element of challenge, a successful adaptive response produces feelings of mastery and a sense of oneself as a competent being.
Vygotsky's theory of cognitive development centered on the concepts of social interaction and imaginative play. Play is a crucial part of a child's life. Through play, children learn to make sense of their worlds, develop thinking skills, and acquire language. Play is vital for a child's cognitive development. He believed that children learn by observing and imitating others. He believed that the best learning came from social interactions because it allowed children to create and discover meaning of the things that they observed. We can even see this in animals such as ducklings. When ducklings are first born, they spend a lot of their time following everything the mother does. This allows them to learn their environment through observing and doing. The same goes for children. Children observe others and try to understand what they have just witnessed by copying and internalizing it, thus learning how to apply it to their own lives. Lev called this collaborative dialogue. The individual who is being observed and imitated is known as the more knowledgeable other. In most cases, the more knowledgeable other is an adult such as a teacher, parent, or coach. However, it could also be another child within the social interaction that is taking place. Whoever it is, the important part is that it is carried out by someone from which the child can learn.
Vygotsky defined a zone of proximal development to explain how learning occurs through social interaction. The zone of proximal development is the distance between the actual developmental level as determined by independent problem solving and the level of potential development as determined through problem solving under adult guidance or collaboration with more capable peers. Scaffolding is a mechanism through which children learn in social interaction. Support and guidance of a child's action are used to improve competence. When a child receives appropriate guidance, this is the right amount of support that enables a child to perform at a higher level. An adult will gradually decrease the amount of support provided to encourage independence. Help seeking by the child will encourage the child to be more self-directed in his or her learning and how to direct social interaction that can lead to his or her learning. Scaffolding can be used by occupational therapists to create an activity that meets the child's individual learning needs to later promote independence. When a 2-year-old is washing his or her hands in a sink, a parent or teacher may instruct the child on how to complete the task. This may require the parent or teacher to demonstrate the task, provide various verbal, written, visual, or tactile cues. The child may use overt or out loud speech while completing this task to learn the steps as they observe an adult.
Hi, Aubrey.
Hi.
We're going to work on washing our hands today and following the proper steps. First of all, look here in the picture. First step is to wet your hands.
Wet my hands?
Yes, very good. So we're going to turn the water on. Good job. We're going to wet those hands.
Wetting my hands.
Good job, Aubrey. What's the next step? Soap. So we need to put soap on our hands
What do I do with the soap?
and rub together. This says lather, which is another word for rub. Rub together.
Together.
And you can see here, it also says between your fingers, under your nails, and on the top of your hands.
Rub.
Good job. Good job. The next step is to rinse. So we're going to put our hands under the water again and rinse all that soap off. Good job. Now we have to turn the water off.
Turn the water off.
Good job. Let me get you a paper towel because the next step is to dry your hands. So with that, dry your hands.
Dry my hands.
Good job. Very good. All done.
As the child ages, cognitive development increases and the child is able to complete the same task without prompting or less prompting than before. This is because the child learns through social interaction with a more knowledgeable other to eventually encourage independence of the task. The amount of and type of support is dependent on the skill level of the child and the level of development of the child. In our example, a 10-year-old will be able to internally process the steps necessary to complete proper hand washing technique, but may need some reminders or verbal cues to remember the proper times to wash their hands. A child who can internally process the steps will use covert speech.
Dinner's ready.
I'm so hungry.
Hi, honey.
Hi.
Dinner's ready. Did you
Looks
wash
so-
your hands? A 20-year-old will be able to complete the task of hand washing using covert speech to complete the task, but will not need any assistance from an adult or more knowledgeable other because they are internalizing the process for independence of the task.
In conclusion, all of Vygotsky's theories are very important when it comes to being an OT. It is helpful for an occupational therapist to understand the child's zone of proximal development and their methods for scaffolding in order to design a challenge that is just right to promote learning. It seems rather obvious how his concepts relate to occupational therapy, but they are easy to overlook as life moves forward at a fast, never-ending pace. Whether an OT is teaching a child how to write his or her name or helping an individual dress themselves independently after a stroke, Vygotsky's concepts will never get old. His work has enabled people's abilities, so if our job as OTs is to give power to those who are working to gain it, then we can all use his work as another powerful tool in our OT toolbox.